was like made for me. Sophie Cunningham now has a show. It's a podcast, but it's like she signed a deal with The Volume, which is Colin Cowherd's media network, because Colin's no dummy. And she's actually on it with this dude, West, who is on Summer House, which is a show I've never watched before. But she and this guy actually are friends from high school. They're like good friends. And if you watch it, you can tell that they're tight, which is cool. So there's a lot of chemistry. But it does not disappoint, dude. Like, first of all, I want to go through some of the highlights of this show because I recommend you watch it because not only is I think she's like a personality, right? Like somebody who is just like kind of has the it factor. But I know this is not a great comparison because there's nowhere near the type of accomplishment by Sophie Cunningham that the guy I'm about to mention has experienced. But like, she's like Charles Barkley, the way that she talks. Like, it is so refreshing and so cool how open she is, how transparent she is, how comfortable she is in her own skin. Like, you know, I do this show every day, and I'm always kind of like, you know, you want to let it rip. Like, you just want to let it rip. But then I'm also like, man, I don't want to upset anybody. I can be a people pleaser. I also don't want to, you know, run my career with ESPN off the rails by saying something stupid. She doesn't have any of those concerns. And I think a veteran in the WNBA. And so she's not like a first or second year player. She's somebody who I think like quietly got a chance to gain experience and bake, right, as a person and a player. So now that she's like been more than ever thrust into the spotlight, like she's played a lot. She played plenty of basketball in Phoenix, right? Obviously played at Missouri. And her and this dude Wes went to the same high school in Missouri, the guy that she hosts the show with. But like, she has no fear of going all the way. And like, here are some of the things that they talked about. Off the top, man, she is, first of all, it's like the WWE in a sense that like there is definitely a wrestling feel to it, or like, you know, like a hockey feel. Like, she has no problem with anybody thinking that she's Caitlin Clark's enforcer. But that's not what she is. But she has no problem with people thinking that. She doesn't care. She is like, this is so much fun. I'm playing basketball with one of the best players, a generational talent. And she goes into how it is complete horse doo-doo the way that members of the WNBA treat Caitlin Clark. Like, Sophie Cunningham flat out on this show says, when we were playing her last year, when I was with the Mercury, she was a rookie, and you have that kind of, okay, we're going to really give it to her, right? She's a superstar. We're going to show her what the WNBA is all about. And she said, even I had that approach, right? It's your league. She's a rookie. She said, this year, it's like still going on, and she's like, and trust me, as we've all witnessed, she's like, it's extra. It's weird. It's too much. And she's like, and I'm here to say it. She's like, I'm not saying that we don't have amazing players in the WNBA, but if you don't think that Caitlin Clark is the reason for the WNBA's growth and success, the quote was, and she said the whole word, "You are dumb as F," right? She just comes out and says it. And she's basically super positive, by the way. There's no like, she's not negative. She's just like telling the truth the whole time. So here are some of the highlights, right? Because this was pretty good. By the way, in about 5-10 minutes, we got Kyle Yeomans coming up with the Dallas Cowboys from Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California. How I buried that lead, I don't know, but I do know how. Scotty B, the Baylor King, that's how. But so part of this, part of the reveals, right? She talked about how Caitlin Clark is just super goofy, like the goofiest person you could be around. Like, she's a kid. And that kind of showed off the fact that Sophie Cunningham is like a veteran. Because she's like telling this guy West, she's like my little cousin, you know? She also talked about you can't even imagine. Like, we know, but we don't know. She's like, it's kind of crazy. There's a mob mentality of people who want to be around Caitlin Clark. And it's crazy wherever they go. Crazy. And she says it's tough for Caitlin to go anywhere. But she didn't say that Caitlin complains about that. She said that since she had her success, not success. I think like you would just call it like her star rose right after that fight she had against Connecticut, where she sort of exacted revenge, didn't sort of exacted revenge for Caitlin Clark. She goes through that entire situation, but she talks about how after that happened, who slides in her DMs more than anything? Creepy guys, creepy older guys. She's like, which is kind of a bummer. She says that she's not dating anyone right now. That's kind of what she said. She does not. They talked about Tom Brady, and she was like, anybody. She talked about Tom Brady's not really attractive to her because he uses a lot of Botox and filler. And she said, any guy I want to be with, I want to be with like a rugged guy, a guy who's a real man. And which was like, she's out there just. Tom Brady's catching strays, right? And she's saying all this with a smile. She doesn't take herself too seriously at all. When she was in high school, yes, she was just like you, just like me. She was drinking at farm parties, having fun out in the country in Missouri. And she is very quick to acknowledge, and it's kind of cool to see this, man. Like, there has been a financial windfall for her since this all happened. Like, it's real. Like, it's hard to think about it. Like, but like, one day you're Sophie Cunningham, right? A role player in the WNBA, doesn't even start on the Fever, and they're trying to make the playoffs. You stand up for your teammate, and it was legit. Like, there was no other reason that she did that, but to kind of say, hey, this is what's up. Like, this isn't cool. Like, you're not going to get away with this, right? Because the girl, Michaela Mabry, who she, threw to the ground, was the one who hammered Caitlin Clark in the face and didn't even get ejected. Didn't even get a T, I don't think. So she got a $900 fine for that. And in exchange, she's probably made north of $1 million, right? She also talked about how Caitlin Clark, it doesn't seem like Caitlin Clark, like this is just an update, basketball update. It doesn't seem like Caitlin Clark is going to be coming back to the floor anytime soon. They are really being careful with that groin injury because it's something that can flare up. And the thought process is, as was said by Sophie Cunningham, is like they feel like if they can keep winning without her and get into the playoffs, and then she's back maybe a little before that, they'll be fine. Playoffs start in September. And it's August tomorrow. So it's crazy how, and then I will say again, with the WNBA on the come up, I did a nice walk around Cameron Park yesterday, and I came home, and then I stopped at the Mamaca Bowls place, which needs to sponsor this show or one of these shows, because Scotty and I actually went in there one time. We did the footwork, and I get a bowl there from just about every night. So you guys need to step it up. We'll talk more with them about that later, maybe in person. But so I got my bowl, and then I got the Ashton Hawkins news, and I was just freaking out. So it took me kind of a while to get back home. I get back home because I'm just on my phone and texting and tweeting and all the stuff. And I get home, and the WNBA is on, and it's like a freaking on ESPN. There's a huge crowd. A good game. I'm just and it's wow. I'm just this stuff is working because the Fever, no, they weren't playing. It was New York and Minnesota, a rematch of the WNBA final. So it all goes back to Caitlin Clark. And like she said, if you don't think that Caitlin Clark is the one who is responsible for all this growth in the WNBA, you are dumb as right. Okay. You know who's not dumb is Kyle Yeomans. Is he in the waiting room?
No, let's take a break.
Hold on. You want to take a break?
Yeah.
We're taking a break. We'll be right back. The Pete Souza Show will continue on the other side.